Listen.
Welcome to Real Deal, Real Deal, Real Deal, Real Deal, Real Deal. Joining me today are the happy pair. Welcome to Real Deal. Welcome to Real Deal. I am Brian Rose, and we are live here at London Real World headquarters to talk about this: why investing in our families is the key to our future, and how the current mayor of London has really failed the children of our great city. And today, I want to talk about families. And let's be honest, families come in all shapes and all sizes. They're never perfect, but they're always really important. And when the family breaks down, it has a lot of ramifications for all sorts of other things in our society, from our housing to our education to even potentially crime. And I want to talk today about looking at all of those issues through the lens of the family. And I think by doing so, you'll understand, or we can understand together, how this structure is very powerful, and we can use it more than we use it now. And again, my entire campaign for Your Next Mayor of London and all of my policies really are based on this concept, and that is that prevention is better than cure. If you can do a little work now, it will save you potentially 10x that work down the line when that problem becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think if we look at the family structure that way, and I have a lot of experience with a lot of different family structures. My mother was a single mother raising 3 children. When I met my wife, she was also a single mother. I adopted her daughter, and now we have boys of our own. And so I've experienced a wide range of different family structures with grandparents and other people along as well. And I'm going to bring my own experience and also a lot of research and some incredible ideas from some other people today, and really look at the current problems that London is facing, and how by looking at prevention and the family structure, we can potentially easier solve them, or at least give these parents much more help than they're currently getting. So I'm excited to talk to you today about all things. This is going to have 3 parts, this entire Real Deal. The first thing I want to do is look at the current problems we're facing here in London, and look at it from the family structure perspective, because we all know we're having massive issues here in London. The current mayor has really failed us. Knife crime is at nightmare proportions. We've also seen the failure of affordable housing being built, and we've also seen our education system really struggle. And I believe that those are massive failings of our current mayor, but I think it's because he doesn't understand the real problem. And I don't think he understands the fundamental issues that we are seeing in the breakdown of family. And I want to introduce to you some of those ideas. The next part, I want to share with you some of my own experiences and why that family structure is really important. And I grew up since the age of 7 in a single-parent home, and my mom did an incredible job with me and my brother and sister, and my wife Mariana did an amazing job with Gabby before I adopted her, and just incredible, incredible work. But I want to find out how we can give these parents more help. How can we help them more through emotional support, through education, through job placement? I want to find out how we can really help these parents more. And lastly, I want to really explain to you my ideas on how we can make London the best place to be a kid. And I want to talk about how we can use these structures called family hubs that have been around since 2009, that are great resources for the community, that work in a physical way and in a virtual way, that can really pull together all of the great things happening in a community and give parents the support they need. So I'm super excited to talk about this today, and I want to finish off with my policy of family first and what I plan to do for the families here in London. And again, super excited to be talking about this. I really think this could unlock a lot of the issues we're facing here in London and many cities around the world. Before we get started, I want to hear from you. This show is live right now, and I'm going to be literally reading out your comments that you're giving me on all of our different social media platforms, and I want you to answer a few questions for me right now. And type your question in here and your answer. Again, if you've never typed in one before, start today, because I'm going to be reading them off as we speak. First of all, answer this question. Do you think that the family structure, in whatever form that is, 2-parent, single or lone parent, or an extended family structure, is important for a society, and why? Next, do you think that investing in our families will help us solve problems like housing crisis, education problems, and problems with knife crime? Third, do Do you believe our current mayor has failed in his promises to reduce knife crime, to provide affordable housing, and improve our education system? How and why? And lastly, do you think we need new leadership and new ideas to take our city in a new direction? So leave me your comments below. As you probably heard, I am planning to be your next mayor of London. And on May 6th of 2021, there will be a vote here in London. And on May 7th, we plan on moving into City Hall and putting these ideas into place. If you want to learn more about my detailed policies, you can go on our website, brianformayor.london, which has been shared almost 200,000 times. Again, the support for this mayoral campaign is something we've never seen before. It's been absolutely incredible. People in the streets, taxi drivers, everybody stops me and says, Brian, we believe in what you're doing. We want you to be our next mayor. And honestly, I'm humbled by all the support, and I'm empowered, and it makes me even more excited to do this incredible job. And so thank you so much. We are currently in second place and moving into first place and really putting pressure on the incumbent, the current mayor of London. And we're so excited for that. It all is because of you talking about us, you sharing the videos, you mentioning me and my policies to your friends. So please keep doing that. We really appreciate that. And again, we are moving into first place as we speak. As you know, I have been conducting the Brian for Mayor listening tour, and my plan is to visit every single borough in this city. We started off in Hackney, in Homerton, and last week we went to Tower Hamlets, and this is me going and speaking to the members of the community and then opening it up for questions and answers. This is me on the ground finding out what your problems are, what struggles you have. And I'm going to be talking about one of the women I met at Tower Hamlets later in this broadcast. She brought up an incredible point when it came around this family structure. I had some great questions when it came to fathers also struggling with the adoption process. It was really fascinating, and you can't learn these things unless you're on the ground listening to the citizens. And the truth is this, your current mayor of London is not even going to bother doing this because he knows he'll probably get your vote. He's not going to work for it, which is why I don't think he's doing innovative policies. But I will be out there in force. And I want to announce today something that I haven't yet told the world, and that is this. We are building a bus. This is the Brian bus, our battle bus, if you will. And this is what it looks like on screen. We will be coming to every single borough in London. You're going to see this on every road in London. And we are going to be coming to you and talking to you and listening to you and ultimately serving you. And in my opinion, that's the job of the mayor. The mayor actually only has two jobs: to listen to the 9 million citizens and to serve the 9 million citizens of this city. Right now, our current mayor doesn't do either one of those things. Seems to have a strange agenda associated with his party and his own career that doesn't serve the citizens of London. But we are out there. We're going to be in the streets. We're going to be talking to you and listening to you. And it's probably going to kill me, but I'm going to go to every borough in this city. I'm going to try to talk to every single citizen of this city, and I want to hear from you and find out what I can do as your next mayor of London to serve this city better. So we're very excited. We're going to be coming to you. Look out for the bus, and we'll share with you more of what's going to happen there. So let's start. I really want to talk about this important concept of family first. And let's be honest. Families, they come in all shapes and all sizes. They're never perfect, but they're always really, really important. And the truth is this, when the family unit breaks down, parts of society really break down. And I think the current mayor of London just doesn't really understand that concept. And the truth is this, he has really failed us in so many ways. And I've highlighted this over the past few weeks, and I just want to bring up some of those points. The big thing to know is that knife crime, it is at all-time nightmare levels. And you see this headline here where the current mayor, just marked his 100th teenager killed during his time as mayor. These numbers are shocking, and they are going up and up and up every single year that he is in power. He promised to fight these issues, but the truth is that knife crime has rose 38% in the year prior to lockdown. Homicides are at an 11-year high, and our current mayor of London, his response to all of this, well, he's cutting the police budget by £110 million. So I did an entire episode on this. You can go back and watch it on our Real Deal page on our website, but he is failing us when it comes to crime. Next, one of the major problems of the city is a complete lack of affordable housing. And you can see this headline here, our current mayor of London, again to miss one of his housing targets. And the truth is this, when our current mayor of London came into office, he promised 80,000 6,000 new homes per year. And if you total up the past 5 years, that means that he owes us 400,000 homes. How many has he built? Well, in 2020, he built a total of 1,600 homes. 1,600 homes is what he's built this year in 2020 that's almost at a close. And when you look at his entire tenure as mayor, he started only 34,000 homes and he completed only 12,000 new homes. That's 3% of what he promised. And this is having a massive strain on the city. He was given £5 billion by the government in 2018 to build 116,000 new homes. Where are those homes? Where is the money? It's not happening. And it's another failure for this city. And finally, we see what's happened with education. Currently, only 22% of our secondary students are not even attending school right now. That's one of the major problems here in London. And according to a recent study by the Prince's Trust, some of the shocking statistics about the state of our mind of our young children, it's really dire. And if you look at some of these numbers on screen, you'll see 44% of our younger generation, they have lower aspirations for the future. 48% feel they'll never succeed in life. And 43% of young people say, I'll never expect to have a job I really love. This is a breakdown in what we're doing for our children. The truth is, our current mayor has been very ineffective in solving these problems. And to me, it's clear that he doesn't care about housing. He doesn't care about education, and he really doesn't care about crime because he doesn't care about communities. But it goes further than that. I believe he doesn't actually understand the problem. And one of the ways to look at all of these problems is to look at the fact that we have a fundamental breakdown in the family structure. And when the family breaks down, it potentially causes other problems. And if we can just support families more in all ways, I believe we can ease pressure on our housing, on our education, and potentially also ease pressure on crime. And luckily, recently on London Real, about 2 months ago, I was really honored to have Lord Michael Farmer come on the show. And we had an incredible conversation. It's over 2 hours long. You can watch the whole thing for free on London Real or on some of our social media channels. And he has been working tirelessly for the past few years of trying to look at the problems that Britain faces and London faces through the lens of the family unit. And he believes that prevention is better than cure. And he's done some incredible work with Dr. Samantha Cowan and the Center for Social Justice to try to find out how he can look at improving the family structure and that itself improving a lot of our issues around housing and education and around crime. And here's a short clip of Lord Farmer speaking with me in the studio not less than 2 months ago, talking about how governments are starting to look at everything through the lens of the family and they're starting to work together. So here is Lord Farmer.
I mean, at the moment we're learning that there's a cabinet level family minister being appointed whose job is to coordinate policies concerning families cross-departmental, government departments, so that instead of being silos where you got the Ministry of Education not wanting to work with the Ministry of Work and Pensions or something, and all their own little silo, you'll have an actual policy of, you need to work together here at local level, local council level, and at government level to produce workable, good policies.
You put a lot of time on this.
Well, I mean, look, I'm in my 70s. There's one of my verses, Psalm 90, it's a psalm of Moses, it's great. In the middle, it says, Lord, teach me to number my days that I may have a heart of wisdom. And that really hit me when as I got older, and I thought, I've only got so many days, and you depend on the Lord, and the Lord's given me the help from Samantha, who's got huge knowledge. I've got allies there, like the Centre for Social Justice and other allies in Parliament, and you just meet with ministers, you argue, you're trying to put, the importance, and the culture's shifting. I think it's slowly shifting. Every department, we even talked to the Treasury. Do you know what stable families, if you have more stable families, would mean to the productivity of this country? Why is the UK so poor in productivity? Could it be connected to also the graph which shows we have a lot of family breakdown? the bloke in the office who's getting a divorce, is he going to work very well? He's going to be stressed. He's going to be anxious. Yeah. So it's slowly, and one prays. And I mean,
and there was Lord Farmer. He's done incredible work, really incredible work, dedicating the rest of his life into trying to help Britain through that lens of family. And that's what they do in the House of Lords. It's a life peerage, and he spent so much of his time working on real policy and affecting incredible change here in Britain. I want to share some of the things that he's been working on with Dr. Samantha Callan, and he was really my inspiration for our entire Family First policy. And the more time I spend with him, the more I'm really impressed with his real dedication to humanity. And I'll share with more of his ideas as we go on throughout this broadcast. I want to hear from you now. Do you think that the family structure, in whatever form that is important for a society, and why? Do you think investing in our families will help us solve problems like knife crime, housing scarcity, and help our education system? Do you think the current mayor of London has failed in his promises to reduce knife crime, provide affordable housing, and improve our education system? How and why? And do you think we need new leadership and new ideas to take our city in a new direction? Some great comments coming in here. And again, please leave them whatever platform you're in. I'm going to try to read as many off as I can. I've got Philip G here on YouTube that says, I'm so happy for him. Brian Rose is a fantastic dad and a great leader. I want to take this time out before the show to say thank you for all your efforts. Thank you, Philip. I really appreciate you. Zoe Money on Instagram says, thanks for being so informative and giving people the real knowledge. It's my pleasure. I really think that putting ideas out there, the best ideas, is how we're going to take this city to the next level. We've got Matthew Sri on Instagram saying, hello, brave man. Thank you very much. I love doing this stuff. Bagila Lisa on Instagram says, thank you for your show. My pleasure. We've got Pooser254 on YouTube says, London needs a fresh start. Brian for mayor, awesomeness. I appreciate you. Shik Pammy says, you have been gifted with energy, flow, intuition, and love. Nothing can stop you. I want you back home in the USA, in the White House someday. Thank you, Shik. I appreciate you. And Claire Holden Wilson on Instagram says, we need someone like you in power. I appreciate you. And honestly, I'm just inspired by all of you to just go out there and work hard every day to find the best ideas that can make the most change for our city. And that's what we're doing here, putting the best ideas forward. As long as it works, I'm all in. I don't care what party that idea comes from or who's involved, as long as it's going to help the citizens of London. We've got Good Sedge on Instagram saying, first question, what do you think 2021 is going to be looking like? I'm super positive for the future. I believe 2021 we're going to do amazing things, and on May 7th we are going to start taking London in a new direction. We've got Anna Howard on Instagram saying, how are you going to save the TfL? The truth is we've got an incredible transport first policy that you can read about on our brianformayor.london site. And we'll be talking more about exactly how we're going to solve those problems, but those details are there on our website right now. A few more comments about our family structures. We got Gems Devon Gems on Instagram saying, I think it's very important for the people governing us to understand family structure, stop demonizing and scapegoating single mothers, etc., and to truly value human beings that care for each other. That's incredible. I appreciate that. And we totally agree. We think single mothers do an amazing job. They need more support, and we've got some ideas on that today. I got Claire Holden Wilson on Instagram says, the family structure is one of the most important things to look at. Yes, the mayor has failed and we need new leadership. I appreciate your thoughts, Claire. And we've got Nicola G on Instagram says, quote, they have cut all services on children's social interaction. And I'm going to talk about some of those solutions later. A few more comments before we move on. Sheik Pammy on Instagram says, you are awesome and you have an authentic wife. She is amazing. Love the union and the simplicity demonstrated by your love. I appreciate that, you, and I'm going to talk about my wife and my daughter shortly and show a little video from them as well. And we've got Dana Ryder on Instagram says, Brian, my hero. Thank you. Everything starts within community groups, can be online as well, that teach people how to love themselves and see potential within, unquote. Thank you, Dana. I appreciate you, and I want to share with you some really innovative solutions that's happening in our communities for families later in this broadcast. So let's talk about why family is important, and let's look at some of the challenges faced by our single parents or our lone parents here in London and all over the world. I want to find ways that we can help them more. And let's be honest, I have some experience with this. And before I go into my experience with my mother, who raised 3 kids on her own as a single parent, and my wife, who was a single parent before I met her and adopted her daughter, let's look at some of the statistics. And it's true that in Britain, 14.9% of all families are single or lone parent, but it's even higher in London. 20% of families here in London are single and lone parents, and I want to find a way that we can help them more. And let's look at some of the struggles they faced. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself. When I was 7 years old, my parents got divorced, and it was a very traumatic time in my life. And I remember from then on, I was really on my own, and I was what they called a latchkey child. I literally had a house key, and even when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I would take the bus to school. I would come home on my own, and I would open the door, and I would spend 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes alone, but until my mom came home. And I really had to try to find a way to adjust. She was working a new job. She had to go back into the workforce. She went and got a job in sales, and she worked really hard to support us and do all the incredible things she did. And she was an amazing mother. She took us all around the world, to Japan and China and Europe. I went to London with her when I was 16 years old. That's probably the reason I'm here. She stressed education. She took me to tour universities all around the world. But the truth is that she could have had more help, and I wish we could have helped her more. And the crazy thing is I saw this same thing play out with my wife. And before we move on, I want to play a short piece of video of me and my mom. I actually went back to San Diego, California to talk to her recently for one of my documentary films called Reconnect. And I talked to her about the divorce and how it affected me emotionally. And here's a short clip where I get really emotional and honest. And I talked to my mom about what it was like when she divorced my father and how I reacted as a child. So this is me sitting down in my living room with my mom talking about the divorce. What was I like as a kid?
You would kind of bang things on the walls, and you wouldn't just cooperate at all.
Do you think I was angry because of the divorce?
Possibly. I mean, divorces always hurt kids, but I really wanted to minimize it.
Most times it goes back to that moment when I was 7, and you told us about the divorce, and I think for some reason, with my personality, I was just like, I just built these walls all up around me at that time, and that was just like, so it was like, I think I just built these walls up. Then I think I realized I was just trying to keep people out of my life so they wouldn't hurt me.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So I think that's what that was. Yeah,
Yeah, especially
anybody that could hurt me.
Yeah.
So I think.
That's
Yeah.
Give you a hug right now.
And so there's me and my mom. That was a short piece of a documentary film that we made called Reconnect. I went even further with my mom, and we talked a lot about this. And just want to give my mom a shout out if she's watching this. Mom, I love you. You did an amazing job, and I'm so proud of you and what you did with me. And I still can't believe the job that you did raising us 3 punk kids on your own. And I just, when I see that and I think about my childhood, I just think, how could we have helped my mom more? How could we have helped single parents or lone parents more, or all families more? And, strangely enough, I had another experience of single parenthood. And, about 12 years ago, I met my current wife, Mariana, and she was a single mother. And I remember at the time she was working a full-time job. She worked at Dolce & Gabbana in the retail sector. It's actually where I met her when I was shopping one day. And she worked really, really hard, full-time, long hours. And she still had her daughter, Gabby, who was 4, 5, 6 years old when we first started dating. And she was trying to raise her and then travel to central London and travel back. And it was just hard. She just didn't have the help and the resources she needed, which meant that, the education system had to pick up the slack, and Gabby would stay longer at school, or she had to try to find someone to look after her after school. And it was just a stress and a strain on that whole situation. And I got to watch it firsthand. And to be honest, it's one of the reasons that I ended up adopting Gabby, and we all moved in together as a family, even though for me that was very uncomfortable for me to do at the time. I thought I was going to be a bachelor my whole life, but I saw that Gabby would never have a proper childhood, I didn't think, unless we had that family structure. And so I adopted Gabby, and we all moved in together, and it ended up being a complete game-changing moment for Gabby's future, for Mariana's future, and also for my future. I got so much out of this family structure, and it was really, really powerful. And I'm always thinking, how could we have helped her more with this whole idea of giving support to our lone parents, our single parents, and our family structures. And so here's just a little bit of video of me and Gabby back in the day, and me and Marianne and Gabby as I was starting to become part of their family structure and part of their life. So here's a video of me and them.
I'm here with Gabrielle Rose. She is about to cut the chocolate mousse pie that she made. Let me just give you an overhead of this really quick. We're in Ghent in Belgium, and we wanted to say Happy New Year!
And so my conclusion is this, is that our parents need help. They need more help with emotional support, with relationships, with employment, with further education. And if we can think about that as a city, about how we can be preventative, go on early and try to support them in more ways possible, we can potentially ease pressure on our housing, our education system, or even on crime. And funnily enough, I had an incredible conversation when I was at Tower Hamlets with an amazing woman named Alicia. She was actually one of the first people I spoke to. And she came up and talked to me and she said, Brian, you know, honestly, I didn't know much about you and your campaign for mayor, but once I listened to you, I'm completely 100% in. She said, I work with young teenage girls in the community and we struggle because they get involved with gangs and these county line drug operations and they go missing. And she said, Brian, the biggest problem we have is from 3:30 p.m. when they leave school to 8:30 p.m. at night when the parent comes home. What do they do with the 5 hours? And she said to me, that old line, the devil finds work for idle hands. She says we need to give them something to do. We need to support those parents, support those family structures somehow, and give options for these children, because when we don't, we pay for it further down the line. We pay for it with our education system when we ask too much from our schools, when we ask them to have more of a parenting role. Sometimes it ends up leading to crime, and it also can increase our housing issues, because if it goes from a two-person home to those parents splitting up, it means we double our housing needs. And so it was really great to speak with Alicia for this, and it was great to get her perspective. And that's what helps me when I go out there in the communities, because I find out what they're really struggling with. And so what I think we see here is a clear need to provide more support for our family structures, regardless of what they look like. And if we can provide the emotional support, the childcare support, employment support, further education support, support in any ways, we're going to solve so many of these big problems that end up coming down the line. Again, prevention is always better than cure. And I want to finish off with another short video clip from Lord Michael Farmer. And here he is talking about some of the repercussions that we see when there is a family breakdown. What happens is it causes other very big problems. Again, prevention as opposed to cure. So here's Lord Farmer talking more about that.
So the repercussions of family breakdown, we see it across every department of government, actually. Loneliness, people living by themselves. Housing problem, you need more houses because people are living by themselves rather than together. Rural communities, the suicide with farmers and things like this. Again, for loneliness, family breakdown. You see it in the defense area with military families where they've got no emphasis. And you see it in the care system. How many children going into care? Why? Because of a bad family background, where it's just broken down. It's chaos.
And there was Lord Farmer, really some incredible insights about what happens when the family breaks down, how it leads to so many other issues. And right now, I would love it if you could just answer a few questions for me. First of all, do you think that the family structure, in whatever form that is important for a society, and why? Next, I want you to think or answer this question. Do you think that investing in our families can potentially solve other problems like housing, education, and even some of our issues with crime? Do you think the current mayor of London has really failed in his promises to reduce knife crime, solve our housing problem, and also solve our issues with education, and why? And do you think we need new leadership and new ideas to take our city in a new direction? I'm going to your comments now, and they're coming from everywhere. I really appreciate that. Wherever you are watching me right now, please leave me a comment, even if it's your first time. And we've got Derek Venturi on YouTube that says, quote, investing in families is probably the best thing we can do, unquote. Great insight there, Derek. I really appreciate you. Bigger Picture on YouTube says, quote, family values are the cornerstone of society. Caring for each other is a way of life, which then extends to all of your relationships in society. That's an incredible insight. I really appreciate that. And it happened to me. When I stepped up and became a father to Gabby and adopted her, honestly, I became a better person and everything in my life became better. So that invisible family structure, it's powerful. I think it's more powerful than we even understand sometimes. NSPA says, quote, family is key to societal success. Great comment there. I've got Ibed Nigas Tafari on YouTube that says, quote, I'm viewing from the Caribbean island of St. Lucia and I get much inspiration from London Real. My blessings are with you on this mission, Brian. Family first. Thank you, Ibed. I appreciate you. I appreciate your comment. I got Clockstagram33 on Instagram saying, quote, the childcare system massively needs improving. I agree with you, and we've got some incredible solutions I'm going to talk about next. A couple other comments coming in here. Home Prima on YouTube says, £5 billion for 1,600 homes. He is a disgrace, and I agree. Our current mayor of London has failed us tremendously in our affordable housing and so many other ways. I've got Henrik Hulk on YouTube says, quote, we all want to live not in a yellow submarine, but in a Brian bus. Oh, yeah. I think that's a line from a song, and I appreciate that. It's a great comment. Another comment from YouTube says, quote, Brian's big battle bus. Meeting the people in the old-fashioned way, unquote. Thank you so much, and I agree. I think it is the old-fashioned way. You know, I find support for my ideas one person at a time, and I love going out and talking to people. I love shaking hands, giving people hugs, and really looking into their eyes and finding out what is your challenge and how can I serve you as the next mayor of London. That's my job, and that's what I want to do, and I'm super excited to get on that bus and come and see you. A couple other comments here. Sam Farmer on Instagram says, you are so cool. I appreciate you. What's cool is talking about solutions, that's for sure. Dream Tellers on Instagram says, hope you become mayor. Thank you very much. Omar Karim on Instagram says, keep the truth going. I will. I love talking about numbers, details, and the truth. I got McQuillan on Instagram says, quote, pity you don't live here in Barcelona, Spain. You're a real warrior and hope you win there in London. And I have lots of family there. I appreciate, I think the ideas we put in place in London can inspire the cities around the world. So honestly, I feel like we are doing this as the world together. We're just starting in London, and we're going to roll this out into other cities in the world if these ideas are successful. I've got Charon333 on Instagram says, you are a good man. The world needs more people like that, like you. You really care. Thank you so much. I love talking about this stuff. I really do want to see better futures for our citizens. I've got Election Sake on TV, on YouTube says, Brian for president. Thank you very much. I am going to stay in the UK and fix these problems right now. We've got Lindsay on YouTube saying, family has to be invested in 100%. I agree with you, Lindsay. It's a great concept. We've got Arian Fusha on YouTube says, Brian, we need you as mayor of Dallas. I appreciate you in Dallas. We're going to start here in London. We've got Mai on Instagram says, quote, 11 years ago today was adoption day for 3 of my 6 kids. I've been parenting alone for 8 of those years. Your message is just what my heart needs today. Thank you. No, I want to say thank you to you. And as your next mayor of London, I want to find solutions that support you as a parent, whether that's as a single parent, a lone parent, or even as a 2-parent household. I want to find ways to support you. And this is my final point. What I want to do is this. I want to make London the best place to be as a kid. That's what I want. I want to make London the best place to be in the world as a kid. And to do that, we need to invest in our families. And one of the most incredible ways to do this is with family hubs. And Family Hubs is really an innovative structure that I want to talk about today. You can see their website here today. And I want to play for you a video. And this is from Lord Farmer when he was here on our episode. And this is him talking about Family Hubs and how they work. So here he is, Lord Farmer, talking about this innovative structure.
I mean, at the moment, we're very much involved with setting up family hubs throughout the UK, which will be a centre in each town or city, which anybody can walk into, be non-stigmatizing. It's a family hub where there's lots of services centred, or the people there know where to go. You go in there and you say, well, I'm a single mum, but my son, I think, has just started taking cocaine. He's 13. He's got getting involved with county lines or something. What do I do? You know, she's probably got all the stigma, the fear of talking about that, social services. So, you know, what we're trying to do is create this, and the government's taking note of it. They actually mention family hubs in the manifesto. This countrywide system where people will have somewhere to go to help with their family problems. It may be, I got a son who started hitting me. What do I do?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a different type of almost prescriptive treatment as opposed to, like you said, throwing money at it after the problem, where it's usually 5 or 10 times bigger.
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's preventative. You've got counsel. You've got people who can help. People who can, you know, the son and the mother can meet, you know, a sort of counselor together, or there are whole services that can move in before you get a situation where the social services move in a big way and separate people.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment, we're very much involved with setting up.
What is Family Hubs? What is exactly that structure? What is it about and what does it do? So let me describe to you exactly what it is. And again, here's their website here on screen. You can go check it out in more detail on your own. But Family Hubs are an innovative concept that were first deployed in 2009. It brings together physical and virtual resources in a coordinated way to ensure that families receive the support they need when they need it the most. And let me emphasize, these are places for parents as well as children. And it comprises a network of providers with children that are from 0 to 19 years old and parents. And the Family Hubs share a single approach to bringing together early intervention work delivered by the wide spectrum of early help services. And just to be clear, this includes children's services, health visiting, school health, housing, maternity services, and local voluntary service providers. This also uses the existing Children's Center hub sites, and they're also going to source new locations to provide the opportunity to bring families into a physical building, and they have an incredible virtual network as well. And so the great thing about Family Hubs is they have been working since 2009. They've been rolled out across the country, and they have been delivering incredible results. And I want to share with you some of the results that they have found in Doncaster, which is a city to the north of us, where local government have enjoyed some tremendous success here when it comes to the Family Hub model. And I want to put some stats with you on the screen of some of the incredible success that they're having. 72% of the children they work with have learned new skills. 74% of the children are now following routines. 63% of the children are understanding more about, are becoming school ready. 83% of the parents are understanding more about child development. 33% of the parents have improved their mental health, and 21% of the parents believe they have better access to local services. And one of the important statistics that you'll see in there is that this isn't just another children's center. This really looks at a holistic approach to the family. So we are putting attention into our parents as well as into our children. We are focusing on the fathers, the mothers, as well as the children, and we're giving support for everyone. Emotional support, practical support, health support. And the successes in Doncaster have been absolutely incredible. And in London, they have been as well. And so far, 13% of the local authorities are delivering the Family Hubs model with councils like Westminster, Kensington and Chelsea, Barking and Dagenham, and others as well, leading the way to this multi-agency approach. And again, another further 29% of these local authorities are in the process of implementing what really is this tailored approach. And they're also practicing a lot of the principles that we see. And a lot of the boroughs that are doing this are having some real effect. And these are boroughs like Brent, Lewisham, Bexley, Barnet, Camden, and Bromley. They are rolling out approaches to this Family Hubs as well. And what I want to see as your next mayor of London is more local authorities and more boroughs rolling out this Family Hubs model. It's been proven to work. But what we want to make sure that we do is this. We want to make sure that each borough and each local authority finds a bespoke way of integrating this Family Hubs model into their own issues. And let's be honest, every borough, the ones that I go speak to, they all have their own issues. They all have support from community centers, sometimes from churches, sometimes from other places that help children, like boxing gyms and things like that. And they can draw on what they need from the community. They might have a physical resource they can use as well, but they can also provide support. And I think each local authority in each borough needs to almost have a bespoke approach of how they can integrate these family hubs and really make a difference and provide more support to the family structure. And I just wanted to finish on a testimonial. And this is Nikki. She is a single mother of 2, and this is a short video of her describing her experience with the Family Hub. And here's Nikki describing about some of the positive impacts that it had on her and her family.
Hi, my name is Nikki. I'm a single mum to 1 daughter and 1 son. I was forwarded on to Kirsty from Barnardo's by the school as I was struggling with my health, which was affecting my children and my family life. Kirsty has been an amazing support to myself and my children. She has made regular visits to my home and shown me new techniques and tips so that I can bond better with my children. Kirsty has referred me to young carers as well, so that I can have some me time to recharge my batteries so that I'm in a better frame of mind for when my children come back home. Since Kirsty has come along, the family life has settled so much more. My son's violent outburst is a thing of the past now, and for this alone, I can only thank Kirsty. So a heartfelt thank you. Hi, my name is Nikki. I'm a single mum.
This is all about prevention rather than cure. And the Family Hubs Network really looks at how can we, in a cost-effective way, work early to strengthen that family structure, give them the support they need so we don't find these problems magnified further down the road and sometimes come out in issues with housing, issues with crime, issues with our education. And so again, the prevention is better than the cure, and looking at everything through a family lens is an incredible way to really make more of an impact and take London in a new direction and really take things to a better level faster. So I'm really curious what you think about some of these ideas. Please leave me your comments right now. This is the last time I'll be asking for comments. First of all, do you think the family structure is important for a society, and why? Do you think investing in our families will also help us solve problems like knife crime, affordable housing, and issues with our education? Do you think the current mayor of London has failed in his promises to improve our education system, affordable housing, and knife crime? And finally, do you think we need new leadership and new ideas to take our city in a new direction? And again, wherever you are right now, please leave me a comment, no matter what it is. I'd love to really hear from you. And some great comments coming in right now, and I really appreciate them. Danny Penderson on Instagram says, vote for Brian. I appreciate you. 93 Pope on Instagram says, stay in the fight, Brian. And I appreciate that, and we will. You know, we are going to come up against massive resistance from, the current incumbent mayor. We know we're going to be criticized, but we know we have the best ideas, we have the most passion, and we're listening to you, the citizens, so we know we will be successful. We've got Chuno Poppy on Instagram says, keep up the good work, Brian. We will, thank you. We got two shot zero on Instagram says, dope suit. Thank you very much, I appreciate that. We got Clockstagram on Instagram says, you should be Prime Minister. Let's work on London first. I appreciate your thoughts. We got Mia Yoga on Instagram says, continue to fight for freedom of speech. Love your work. And yes, we are big believers in freedom of speech. Id Health Exercise Coach on Instagram says, I consider you family, Brian, a brother. Thank you very much. And family structures come in all forms, so I'm okay with that as well. We've got Heidi Carpe Diem on Instagram says, quote, everything should be family oriented. Daycare and buildings where we work flexible hours of work so we can make a more beautiful life. Appreciate you, Brian, from Ohio, USA. Thank you, Heidi. I really appreciate you, and I think it's important to focus on the family and what we can do in all aspects. So I appreciate you. We've got Wandering the Planet on Instagram says, quote, viewing from Scotland, you are brilliant. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. We've got John Care Lester on YouTube that says, you should be Prime Minister, Brian. I appreciate that as well. We've got Christopher Lutz on YouTube saying, quote, Brian would be a great mayor for any place in the Western world. Thank you. And I really believe that what we're going to do here in London next year is going to be a model. It's going to be the blueprint for every city in the world. I think we can show New York City how it's done. I think we can show Los Angeles how it's done. I think we can show Paris, Frankfurt, Madrid, how it's done. And we're going to start here in London. The way we're going to do it is because we got incredible people like you, and we're going to do it all together. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. And finally, we've got Mediacto on Instagram says, we have failed our children. We need to put the focus back on our children and the youth. I couldn't agree with you more. And finally, we've got Wandering the Planet says, I will volunteer for you when I'm back in London. Thank you so much. And last comment, Dexathor says, Brian, London needs a new mayor, and I couldn't agree with you more. So I want to finish. First of all, I want to thank the incredible work that Lord Michael Farmer and Dr. Samantha Cowan are doing at the Center for Social Justice. Again, they have really been at the forefront, and the work they're doing with Family Hubs is absolutely inspirational. And I think we can use a model that's working incredibly in Britain and in London and empower that model to work in every single borough of London. Again, prevention is better than cure. Let's give our families support. Yes, single mothers do an incredible job. Let's give them more help. Let's give them the support they need for emotional help, for education, for job support, for childcare, for health. Let's help them more. And I think we can do this in an optimal way through the Family Hub structure. And it finishes with this. My policy of Family First is one of my 12 cornerstone policies, and you can watch these in detail with video on my brianformayor.london website. And again, just to be clear, I have done more policy work than any candidate for mayor combined, honestly. If you go and look at the detail that we have put in here, we've done serious research. We've gone out there. I've done hour-long episodes on Real Deal about each one of these policies, and I'm going to continue to push these ideas out there. Not only that, I'm coming into every single community to talk to you, to listen to you, and to learn from you about what I need to focus on as your next mayor of London. This is real. This is the way it should be in a democracy. And I promise you that I'm going to focus on your problems and your challenges as your next mayor of London. And I'm not going to let some political party or some strange donor or some strange agenda get in the way of doing the right thing. Again, the best idea wins, period. And that's what we're talking about here. And so one of my cornerstone policies as your next mayor of London is to put family first. And that means that I'm going to find innovative ways to do this. First, I want to keep our family units together, and I want to give extra support to our single or lone parent families. Next, I want to deal with problems proactively instead of reactively with really that preventative community support that the Family Hubs really embodies. Next, I want to train our police to deal with domestic disputes in a way to ensure that they de-escalate problems and protect the structure of the family when possible. I want to provide lower transportation fares and discounted events for our families. And finally, I want to make sure that the family structure, no matter how unconventional, it's this timeless system of care and accountability that brings out the best in us, and I want to invest in it as your next mayor of London. And that's what I want to do. I want to promote the families, and I think we can really improve the economy, we can reduce crime, we can create happier, more proactive citizens, and that's what I want to do along with my other policies. I want to get London back to work. That's what we're going to do here. It's important, and it's going to be happening in the next few months. Let's get London back to work. We know we can, and we can get the economy strengthened, which is going to strengthen everything else in this city, including the mental health of our children. It's going to help also ease the pressure on our NHS. It's going to give us the tax revenues we need. It's going to help save our TfL. And again, I've got a multitude of other policies, including Housing First. I'm going to build real homes, 50,000 new homes by Christmas next year. I'm going to put our education first. I'm going to put our health first. Again, prevention rather than cure. Let's invest in our health with daily exercise, mental practices. It's all in detail on my website. Transport policy, putting science first, and there's a whole host more. So again, I'm super excited to become your next mayor of London. I really appreciate the incredible ideas from Lord Farmer and Dr. Callan when it comes to putting family first. I think this is the most effective way we can utilize our resources and get the biggest gain, quite honestly. And I think we can solve a lot of these big problems that we see from the source. Now, this might take time, but we are for long-term solutions. That's what I want to do as your next mayor of London. I want to use the prevention rather than cure. And I want to set up a structure that's going to cause us to win in the future. And I really believe that by investing in families, it's going to solve a lot of our other big problems that we see when it comes to crime and housing and education. So again, I just want to say, I'm coming to see you. I'm coming to every single borough of London. I want to meet you. Go to our website and you can book free tickets for all of those events. The Brian Battle Bus is coming to you. I'm really excited to see you. Again, I appreciate you. If you feel that these ideas are important, please share this video. Please talk to your friends and family. Please tell them about me, my ideas, and our plans to become your next mayor of London, because the truth is this. If you're not proactive, if you don't get out and vote, if you don't talk about my policies, then you're going to get 3 more years of the current mayor. And the truth is now is that he just assumes he's going to get your vote. His party usually gets your vote. And that's why I think that he continues to break his promises. He doesn't seem to really be doing anything proactively. He doesn't seem to care. And he's sure not talking to you in your communities. If you really want change, then I believe we have the right ideas. If you can help us do this, I promise you that together we are going to lead London in a new direction. We are going to make this place a world-class city once again. And I'm super excited to make these improvements. Honestly, when I hear about some of these numbers, it's hard emotionally to know how many children, how many families in this city are struggling. And we can fix these problems. That's the thing. We can fix these problems right now. We just need leadership. We need focus. And as your next mayor of London, I promise to do that. So thank you so much. Wishing you all the best. Hope you have incredible holidays. We'll be back in January every single week to keep doing the work we do here, to put these ideas forward and take London in a new direction. And I look forward to seeing you on the Brian Battle Bus. Thank you so much. Wishing you all the best. Happy holidays, and we'll see you next year.
At London Real, we believe that individual transformation can change the world. Join us and start your journey today.